almost a year anniversary here after, of course, the Jasper wildfire, and there's a lot of stories to be told out of this. A story of resilience, community coming together, and a guy is trying to capture all that. A guy that you probably have known if you've read the Prince George Post, Mr. Matthew Scace, joining us today. Thanks so much, Matt, for making the time to chat, and congratulations on the book here.
Thanks, Caden. Appreciate it. It's good to see you too.
Yeah, good to see you. So tell me a little bit about Jasper burning. This is a book that you wrote documenting a little bit about what happened. Take me through it.
Yeah, so I at the time, I'm at the Canadian Press now, and I was at the Calgary Herald when the fire happened, and I had been reporting from Calgary and working on some stories about evacuees. So I guess the way the book came together was that a publisher read some of my reporting and liked it and asked if I would do a short. It's a pretty short book, all things considered. It's about 100 pages. And the fire itself, I mean, getting to that, I think I speak for a lot of people at West that we were really paying attention when that happened. I think it was one of the most, I guess, I mean, personally, my heart was breaking when I was watching the fire. And I think a lot of people were just wondering what was going to happen. There weren't any journalists that were inside. So it was really a black box to sort of get, real information about what the state of Jasper was for a good amount of time after the fire had sort of come through and all that. So, I mean, we can talk about more specifics, but there's a lot of work going on still right now to rebuild, which we all know. And if you've been to Jasper, I think a lot of Prince George folks have since the fire. So there's a lot of work happening there, a lot of sort of assessing, giving it an autopsy almost to understand what happened and why, which is sort of what I tried to accomplish with the book. However perfectly I could, I guess. And then I guess people are just trying to get their lives back together. And I think that's really a work in progress, and it's going to take a long time.
Well, I just think books like yours, the one that you wrote, are so important to telling that story, keeping it going, because people won't forget once they see that in the bookstores. And you can get your copy, folks, if you're wondering. But when you go there, yeah, I feel like it's hard to understand exactly what happened because, of course, all the media are behind the fire lines, but there is that black box, a story to tell. And if you talk to the people that are serving you breakfast in Jasper, I mean, we talked to them when we're there, everyone has a unique story about what happened, how it affected them. And I feel like as a journalist yourself, it must be super interesting you're used to putting it into a story in the paper or a website, but putting it into a book, well, that must have been a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to really get into it, because I think the one thing that as a journalist myself, like you only have so much time to really dive into an issue before you get sent to the next thing, really. And for this, I had time to do interviews for more than an hour or even a couple hours. Like I went to Jasper for a little trip, and I spent an hour and a half with the mayor, and I spent a couple hours with the fire chiefs, and I really just got to sit with it and then make some calls back when I need some clarification. So I had a good runway to really get into it. And then same thing with people who had experienced it and evacuated, and who are either lost their homes or whatnot. So it was a really good experience, just as a journalist, to be able to do that and then tell those stories in more of a long form sense. And I do think there's a benefit to be able to tell such a big national story in a longer form text, because you get these news stories throughout a whole week of an event, and you're trying to piece it all together. Sort of like your questions, like what happened to the wildlife? What were the firefighters doing at the time? And there were stories that were told in the news like that, right? Like it's not like they weren't, but synthesizing it into one piece is really, I think, a good way to tell a story.
The one thing else I was going to touch on here was you get to see the full empowerment of the community coming back, the resilience, the motivation to move on and get bigger, better, stronger. What was that like? I mean, when you go there, you kind of get a sense of it. But for those who haven't been, what would you say on that? And because that's kind of towards the end of your book, you talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's a work in progress. It's interesting because I talked to people early on. Like I was writing and reporting on this book in August, so it was in the first month back. And there are people that I talked to who were, I guess, residents of Jasper who were not involved with, I guess, any recovery before the fire happened, because there was no fire. But suddenly those people that I'd been talking to on the phone were involved in certain ways, in like integral parts. They weren't just I mean, they weren't just sort of like helping clear up the streets, like they were planning the rebuild. And I think that can't be underscored. There are people who didn't have jobs like this before who are now like facilitating the rebuild of the town, which is very, very, very cool, especially for a town that's so small and so tight knit. Because it's a small population, but it's a really, really tight population of locals who either retire there or work there, and have lived there for a very, very long time. Because there's not a lot of turnover in Jasper. It's not like a city where people come and go all the time. It's people who have lived there since they were kids. The mayor, Richard Ireland, grew up there. He had a little bit of a break when he's younger, but other than that, he's been there his whole life, right? So it's very, very, very touching to see.
Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time to talk today, Matt. Of course, for those that don't know, Matt used to work for the Prince George Post here in Prince George, moved on up the ladder to Calgary, and now is writing books about places we all love here in Prince George and the area of Jasper. So special to connect with you. Cool Prince George connection. Yeah, I wish you well in the next summer. I hope there's no big wildfire stories that you're having to cover, but boy, you certainly turned it into a great book. So thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Kate. Appreciate it.